Hello everyone, my name is Jackson and welcome to week 5 of the FPL Q3. We hope you had a wonderful holiday season and that you ate some good food and maybe spent some time with some people you loved. Before we get into the battles, week 5 was the deadline for all trades to be done, and so a lot of people made some trades. So let's break it down. Let's start with the big traders. So Rowan traded his Mew and Coma-O to Teddy for Amoonguss and Latios. He also dropped Entei for Lycanroc Dusk, and he dropped Celebi for Necrozma. Teddy received the Coma-O and Mew, but also traded Cam his Grimmsnarl and Arcanine for Cresselia and Incineroar. So Cam made that trade, but also traded his Salamence to Thomas for Latias. Thomas received the Latias and also dropped Raikou for Goodra and dropped Suicune for Durant. Well, all 3 legendary dogs are gone. Ho-Oh would be very upset. Alex dropped Haxorus for Terrakion. Ryan dropped Dugtrio for Jellicent. And I dropped Regidrago and Magnezone for Torkoal and Venusaur. Alright, that concludes the trades. There will be no more trades for the rest of the season, so these are the playoff teams locked in. Without further ado, let's look at these teams in action. Alright, so the first battle of the week is myself versus Cam. So just briefly going over my team here. So his whole roster is weak to fighting and electric. And so I brought Urshifu and Zeraora, and they're both Assault Vest. I thought that they both are really effective, and so I kind of just put them both on the team to do the same thing. I brought my new pick in Torkoal, and I have a banded Rillaboom to hopefully get some MVP kills. Looking at his team, I was very afraid of the Grimmsnarl, and but I was very happy to see as well that he did bring a team weak to close combat, weak to electric moves, and so I was pretty happy on the team preview. But let's just jump in and see how this game went. So the leads are Jirachi versus Mamoswine. Now I am a choice Scarf Mamoswine, and I do have the Freeze Dry for Pelipper. However, I was pretty scared of the Jirachi, and I thought he might not be Scarf, so I went for high horsepower to try to catch it. But luckily, he went into Pelipper, and now I look like a fool. I go into Slowbro to take any water move, and he U-turns on me, so that's 2 turns gone, and I just got stomped on for those 2 turns. I'm not really looking too good. He goes into this horse. I really don't know what this horse is going to do. I don't really know what it does outside of Trick Room. He Swords Dances. I decided to teleport to scout what coverage move he might have for me, but the Swords Dance is very scary. I go into Torkoal here, which in hindsight might not have been a great play. Although it's my most defensive thing, it's also the only thing on my team that doesn't outspeed the horse. So the Torkoal here, I just thought I could take a hit. He reveals a high horsepower, which means that Torkoal can only barely take a hit. I get the Toxic off because I don't have a fire move. I only have Body Press and Toxic. So I decide to let my Torkoal go. It means I lose the Weather War. But I'm scrambling at this point. I don't have my nicknames. I got nothing on my side. Luckily, this goes down to close combat. And he doesn't have great switch-ins to close combat. All he has is this Pelipper. Now, I'm not choice, so hopefully he predicts me to be choiced here. He doesn't. So, either he did predict me to be choiced or he didn't expect the Thunder Punch, but now I'm able to get rid of his weather. So now there is no Weather War at all. Both weather setters are down, and the horse is in range of most of my mons. So Slowbro comes in and gets flip turned on again by the Barraskewda, who abuses the rain that's left. The horse comes back in, and the Megahorn does a lot of damage, but I use this opportunity to teleport and get the free switch into Urshifu. Now he doesn't have a lot of close combat switch-ins. Like, everything is going to take a lot from this. So I go for close combat. He lets the horse die, which is probably a good idea. It killed the Torkoal. It did a lot of damage to Slowbro, and the rest of my team can outspeed and kill it. So he goes into Grimmsnarl. Now I'm very scared of this Grimmsnarl. If he has Sucker Punch, then he can kind of plow through my Zera Aura and Mamoswine, and if he's got Play Rough, then he can decimate this Urshifu. So what I really need is this thing to get chipped down. It could be offensive, which I'm scared of, and it could be support, which I'm a little less scared of. He reveals the Thunder Wave, so it makes me think he's support. In either case, I just stay into close combat, but I get paralyzed. So that close combat chip would have been really good. I predict some kind of support screen move, and then he reveals Bulk Up. So I went into Mamoswine. I have Heavy Slam for this specifically to do damage, but it doesn't do enough. And he reveals Drain Punch. So I didn't even expect him to bring Drain Punch. This was looking really bad for me. Urshifu comes in. Luckily, he is Life Orb. I get paralyzed again, so a close combat would have hurt this thing. He's able to get +2 off now as I get paralyzed again, and he Drain Punches almost to full. Again, that Life Orb chipping a little bit, but 87 is a lot. So the close combat does 40, which makes me really salty about not hitting it when he was at +0 or +1. The Life Orb able to keep him at 40. So at this point I looked at his moves, Thunder Wave, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, and I thought his last move pretty much has to be Sucker Punch. So I went into Slowbro to try to bait him into going for Sucker Punch and maybe stalling him out. Or getting a cheeky burn off if we get into like a mind game war. So I slack off on his Bulk Up. So I want him to click Sucker Punch, so I'm going to just keep clicking Slack Off here. So I slack off. So he only has 8 Sucker Punches, so that's 1 down. Thunder Wave is pretty bad for me. I just keep slacking off because I want him to go for Sucker Punch. I could go for the cheeky burn. I think I might try here. Oh, I get paralyzed. So he's at +4. I slack off. Again, the Drain Punch isn't doing a lot, so I do have a couple chances now. So he bulks up to +5, and I do get a Scald, no burn. So he keeps Drain Punching, which with the Life Orb is keeping him at a decent amount of health. If he had been leftovers, okay, and then I try to Scald, get the burn, and he predicts me to Sucker Punch. So that's pretty much game. I said GG in the chat. I actually said GG, I guess, because I was very salty about all those paralysis with Urshifu, and even the paralysis on Slowbro was kind of like salt in the wound. So the Life Orb put him down to 25%. So it really comes down to if this Goblin of Moria fears the beating of the drum. But at +5, I doubt even Banded Rillaboom is going to kill this thing.
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me!
It does kill it, which is very exciting. Jirachi comes out. It is the only thing that doesn't get wrecked on his team by Grassy Glide, and so Zera Aura is my switch-in. And it pretty much comes down to me not flinching. So the grassy terrain is helping me survive, but I do get that first flinch. The second one comes out.
Give a hoot. Step up! This is not a Mickey Mouse program!
I should be able to take another one after this because of the terrain. Oh, but I don't get flinched, and I get the knockoff, which means I am faster than it now, and I can kill this Jirachi. I go for close combat, and I just, for some reason, thought knockoff might not kill, because I did get a crit, but I think it does definitely kill. So the Barraskewda here reveals the Scarf. Now, I think I could have gone here into Rillaboom just to, I wasn't expecting Scarf, but I could have predicted the Aqua Jet, because I am faster than this no matter what, and the fact that he brought it out made me think that he probably would have been Aqua Jet or faster than me or something. So going into Rillaboom there means that I can click Grassy Glide to kill like 40 Barraskewdas, and then I can switch out against the Blissey to Wood Hammer it or close combat with Zeraora. But now that Zeraora is dead, I just have to put my faith in Grassy Glide. Maybe I could have gone for Wood Hammer here actually as well. I was honestly shaking. I thought I lost that Grimmsnarl, and so I didn't play this ending as well as I honestly could have. I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. I thought, can I actually win this, even without the nicknames? So it all comes down to the Grassy Glide. It does 66, which is good damage, but after the Soft Boiled and the Grassy Terrain, it's only doing about 9. So 64 is a slightly lower roll. So a little less, 83% he's at now. So I just have to keep clicking it. Iron Banded. 71 is an amazing roll for me. Soft Boiled, so he's basically at 30% down. So this Grassy Glide is chipping away. The Grassy Glide. So he teleports here because he sees the writing on the wall and decides to not stall out my Rillaboom. Now, this is clearly a misplay, but does it matter is the big question. So, with the Grassy Terrain gone, I do less damage, but he recovers less. And so, I do 48 to 54 or something with the banded Grassy Glide. So, if I got all low rolls, he could actually recover HP with Soft Boiled. Although I do have more Grassy Glides than he has Soft Boileds. And I think the only thing he really could have used to whittle me down is Toxic. So if he didn't have Toxic, then I think this is GG. But if he did, then it could have... I think he could have tried to stall me out a bit. I know that he probably thought it was game there, but I think as a Blissey player, you still want to try to not die. I think he could have tried to stall me out. That was his only win condition, and it's a shame he gave up on that, but I'm really happy that Rillaboom came through. Good game cam. I think the big downfall is that you were Life Orb instead of Leftovers on that Grimmsnarl. And I was very thankful for that. Very thankful for Big Drum. And we'll see you at the next one. The second battle of this week is between Ryan and NICO. Now, Ryan is 4-0 going into this. He is our number 1 ranked player. So let's see if NICO can dethrone him. Jumping right into it, the leads are Tyranitar versus Rotom Wash. So Rotom switches into Hippo, and T-Tar switches into Chansey. I think T-Tar would have eaten up the Hydro Pump, but I think he was scared of maybe Will-O-Wisp or Toxic, and so T-Tar gets out of there. Chansey gets the Toxic off on the Hippo, which is pretty nice for Ryan. Hippo not doing enough damage, able to get Soft Boiled right back up to full. But NICO does get his rocks up, something that Hippo does very well. It looks like Tapu Koko is Ryan's only potential defogger. So the teleport into Bulu is a really nice play on Ryan. Bulu can do a lot of damage to this Umbreon. So NICO makes a really great play here. He has the Celesteela, which resists grass, and he has the Scolipede, which resists grass. The Dragonite resists grass, and so he predicts him not to go for the grass move, which he could have very easily have gone for against Umbreon. But NICO goes into Rotom, which ends up working out for him as Bulu switches out. he's choiced, and he doesn't want to get outsped and maybe burned by this Rotom again. So he goes into Chansey, but NICO goes for Pain Split, gets all the way back to full. So that play ended up working really well for NICO. He got his Rotom coming for free, and now is back at 100%. Scolipede comes in on the Chansey. Luckily, it teleports out into Kyurem. So Kyurem can take anything this Scolipede wants to do and fire off a big Ice Beam. So NICO goes into Celesteela, which eats it up with relative ease. It is Spadef's Celesteela. So Coco comes in to pressure the Celesteela as it reveals Leech Seed. So with the Leech Seed and Leftovers being Celesteela's only recovery, Ryan predicts Protect here, because they usually do run Leech Seed Protect. The Leftovers brings it back to 93 HP. So Ryan brought this Chansey in to heal because he didn't think the Celestia had anything to touch on. The superpower is really clutch by NICO, although it just misses the kill. So Chansey is able to soft boil to 100 and still not dead. Still, Ryan has his fat thing, although NICO has a bunch of fat things left. Umbreon comes out and heal bells the Toxic off the Hippo. The Toxic on itself doesn't really make a huge difference because he can just heal bell right away again. Chansey, of course, has Natural Cure, and so that Toxic is gone on the teleport. Here we go. Bulu versus Umbreon. Now this is big what move he decides to click. Does he go for the grass move? Does he go for the close combat again? So Celesteela comes out, and Ryan goes for Stone Edge, probably predicting either this or the Scolipede. It does 50%, just over 50, which is bad news for Celesteela. I think this is definitely banded Bulu. He protects just to get some more health back. The Stone Edge miss is huge for Ryan. Now the Celesteela is at a good amount of HP, and the Heavy Slam did 85%, which puts Bulu in range of a lot of things on NICO's team. So Ryan opts to save the Bulu, goes into Chansey on the Protect, and then goes for Teleport on the Leech Seed. So Ryan playing around the Celesteela pretty well in order to get his Mons out, although the rocks are chipping away. This Coco's already at 63 HP, 63%. So Ryan goes for the Thunderbolt here because he's just very scared of the Celesteela. But he Thunderbolts onto Umbreon, which eats it up. He reveals the Calm Mind as Umbreon goes for the Toxic. So Calm Mind Coco is very heat, but the Toxic's pretty bad for it. It's whittling it down. NICO's able to protect and scout for the Dazzling Gleam, which is definitely going to 2-hit KO the Umbreon. So Ryan does not predict the Celesteela to come in and eat this Dazzling Gleam, and just continues to click it, which on top of the poison damage is going to really hurt it. So Ryan knows that NICO's coming in basically to just protect again, to make the Toxic do a lot of the work. So he goes into Kyurem, predicting Protect. So NICO goes right into Rotom and eats up the Ice Beam once again. If Ryan had gone for Freeze Dry, that would have been a big deal. He switches out, probably just revealing to us that he's most likely choice in some way. So the Thunder Wave is the status move that this Rotom has. Not going to do much against the Chansey. So he Volt Switches into Celesteela. Now Ryan could teleport. So he's got the initiative now. Goes into Kyurem, which we've seen doesn't really do much against this Celesteela. NICO once again going for Protect as Freeze Dry comes out. Not going to predicting Rotom. So it only does 25% to Celesteela, and so Ryan essentially is just stacking his Kyurem here. Celesteela gets the plus Spadef boost, revealing once again he is max Spadef. So he goes into T-Tar to scare it away with a Stone Edge, but NICO has stoneedgecounter.com/best Stone Edge counter in Hippo. Although it's revealed that he has the Ice Beam, it just doesn't do enough to Hippo. He can slack off all that damage, and Earthquake is doing a lot. So Ryan again forced to switch out. A lot of his team is getting whittled down. That's 3 of his big mons in the back at below 50 HP. So Chansey comes in to get his health back, and NICO takes this opportunity to go right into Scolipede. Now that Ryan's team is chipped, this is a really good chance for Scolipede to do some big damage. It gets the Swords Dance off, and Seismic Toss just doesn't do enough. He goes for the cheeky Protect just to get to +2 speed, and now it just comes down to what moves the Scolipede has. So T-Tar comes in to get sacked, also to get Sand up to help chip it down a bit. So with the Sand and the Life Orb, it's taking 16% every turn. So he has Mega Horn. Now, if he had Mega Horn Poison Jab, then I think that Nihilego can take a hit. And the Mega Horn miss is actually really big because now there's another chance, another Sand turn. But Chansey does not live the Mega Horn, so it doesn't look like Ryan's going to be able to chip it down quick enough to stop it from plowing through his team, because he still has like 3 hits in him left. Or he has 2 hits in him left, sorry. So he goes for the Earthquake on the Bulu, easy kill. The Rock's doing a lot of work in this game. So he has the Earthquake revealed, so no matter what he goes into, it dies. So Coco is the switch, dies to Earthquake. Now, but Scolipede goes down to Life Orb. So now it just comes down to Nihilego. The rocks are up, so it breaks any potential sash this might have. And Hippo is out. So does Nihilego have anything to hit Hippo? It does have Grass Knot, which does 78. Not enough. Earthquake is enough, 88. And that is a dominant game from NICO. Just showing you how big the rocks can be. And the Toxic on Umbreon, the Leech Seed on Celesteela, paired with Protect on all his mons, was just like a really effective way to whittle Ryan down. I think Ryan needed to really make some big predictions there. He could have maybe caught the Celesteela with the Coco. He might have been able to get to play around better with that Umbreon, but it seems like Ryan just did not bring a good enough team to deal with this Hippo and Celesteela. GG NICO, you are a god killer, and you have dethroned Ryan. Very good game, and congratulations. So the third battle this week is a rivalry as old as the FPL itself. It is Thomas versus Teddy. These are 2 OG FPL members that were around on the very first season, and let's see their skills put to the test in this battle. So the leads are Zapdos, which is looking fresh with its new sprite, against Volcanion. Now before we go, I will say that Thomas picked Volcanion very early and has been trying to trade him ever since. No one is biting, but this week, because it was the deadline, he was shopping Volcanion extra hard. And still no bites. So he stuck with it on his team, and he finally brings it. So let's see what it can do. So Teddy switches in his classic Seismitoad, which easily eats up the Steam Eruption. Can probably deal with anything this... Okay, alright. So this is really big. Power Herb Solar Beam is heat as fuck. Thomas! So Teddy's Seismitoad has been going down to grass moves in one hit basically every week, and I didn't think he would bring it, but he did bring the Seismitoad, and you think that it can wall this Volcanion, it can wall almost every other move it has, but Power Herb Solar Beam was a lot of style, a lot of heat, and that is a really big leg up for Thomas. And Volcanion showing that it can do some work. So here's Cress against Volcarona. The Toxic is pretty big. It means that Volcarona is on a timer and cannot just set up and go from here. The Quiver Dance comes out against Toxapex. Now this Volcanion could have Psychic, which would do a big chunk to Toxapex. Thomas opts to go for Giga Drain as Toxapex hazes away the status. I mean the boosts. So he does reveal Psychic, which makes me wonder why he didn't click it at first. But Teddy just goes for the Scald, trying to get as much damage on this Volcarona as possible. But he does have to switch out because he can't really take another Psychic, and he doesn't want to risk the roll. He goes into Cresselia, which can wall this Landorus, gets up a Toxic, as Landorus sets up to +2. Now, Knockoff is just a one-hit KO. I told Teddy to bring Cobra Berry for the Weavile, but, you know, and he thought that he could outlast this Landorus. Landorus showing that it is not just defensive, it can be truly an offensive threat. And +2 Landorus ain't nothing to mess around with. So Teddy goes into the Zapdos, and this is really big turn. Thomas, although it looks like the Zapdos is on the ground, it is not, and is immune to Earthquake. So that gives Teddy the free +1, which is actually a really big turn of events for Teddy. And now he goes for the Agility, so he's faster than everything on Thomas's team. The Knockoff Lock knocks up the leftovers, but the Toxic is really chipping away at the Lando. Teddy goes for a second bulk up. I don't think that's necessary. I think the +1 is all he really needs to go through his team with Close Combat Drill Peck. So the +2 is not necessary. And I think the +3 is also a little greedy. The Superpower wasn't doing like a whole lot, but it wasn't doing a tiny amount. And so now this thing is at 26%, which is pretty unhealthy. Although he's at +3, he can still sweep everybody here. But with the Brave Bird revealed, he gets taken up by his own recoil, which is, I think, another reason why those bulk ups were greedy. Even if he had Drill Peck, I don't think he needed more than maybe 2. But I think even 1 would have been fine, because so Rotom Volt Switches takes out the Volcarona. And now it's 3v3. So we have this Volcanion here. The Flamethrower obviously does not do a lot to Toxapex, but Earth Power does. Just 40% as Toxapex gets off the Toxic. So 40% is actually good for Teddy because he can recover that. So he goes into Rotom to take the Earth Power, and Thomas makes a great prediction and goes for the Steam Eruption. So not getting any free turns from that Rotom switch. It's 2v3. This Volcanion is putting in so much work. So he goes to Ferrothorn first to try to bait out the Flamethrower to get some more toxic damage, racking up on this Volcanion. The burn is okay, actually. It's actually good for Thomas, but still 40 plus the burn is still not enough to beat the recover. So here we go. Goodra has Thunderbolt, which again does less than 40. So now that the Toxic is up on the Goodra, the Toxapex can stall it out with Protect. So yeah, there it goes. Just a classic Toxapex gameplay here. Clicking Recover. Let's just up the speed a bit here. Okay, Dracozolt finally comes in after he conditioned Teddy to keep clicking Recover and can fire off a Bolt Beak. Luckily, Ferrothorn is the other thing that Teddy has, and Bolt Beak is kind of a snack. The Iron Barb damage really coming through for Teddy. So Volcanion comes back in. Predicting another Flamethrower, he goes into Toxapex, but another great prediction on Thomas's part, and he gets rewarded with the Spadef drop. Dracozolt is in here, and He's able to click Bolt Beak for free. In comes Ferrothorn. Does Thomas predict this? He does, and goes for Fire Fang, which does 48%, which is good damage, although with the leftover recovery is not enough. Gudra comes back out, and now we have this riveting Toxapex gameplay once more, in which he stalls things out using Recover. So, not wasting any time, he goes into Draco's ult. Teddy goes for Scald and does not get the burn, which is pretty big. The Bolt Beak, once again, not doing a lot. This Draco's ult is clearly choiced, and so Ferrothorn actually walls it. Sap Sipper, good play on Thomas's part, not able to recover that Ferrothorn to enough HP. So the Ferrothorn is pretty low, in range of the Fire Fang. Once again, Thunderbolt coming out. Now, Teddy clicks Scald, predicting another Draco's ult switch in, but Gudra stays in just a Thunderbolt. Teddy has to switch out now back into Ferrothorn, and he goes into Toxapex because now he's in range. The Flamethrower comes out, which means that Teddy can once again click Toxapex's favorite move. Even the Draco doesn't do enough damage. Toxapex back up to full, or to 67%. Draco's ult now. Okay. Teddy sacks the Toxapex and puts all his marbles into Ferrothorn. The last two mons have fire moves, and so it is looking like a snack wrap. The Toxapex Ferrothorn core able to be broken. Bolt Beak not killing actually on its own, but even after the Leech Seed recovery, it is enough. It is +1 victory for Thomas, so pretty close, but I think Thomas played really well. That Solar Beam play, I think, really knocked Teddy down, and I think Teddy being greedy with those bulk ups were also contributed to Thomas's win here, because that Zapdos, I think, was a huge threat to his team, and as soon as he eliminated that, it was just who could play the better game, and that end game was played exceptionally by Thomas. So good game, everybody, and well played, Thomas.
So from my point of view, that was a roller coaster of a battle. I mean, it started off pretty great for me. I got off the heat that I was really hoping to use, which was the Power Herb Solar Beam, and then see the Expert Belt Lando take out Cress, which were both, the kind of... There's no secret that Teddy and I have a history in the league, and it's generally a history that doesn't come out in my favor. So I knew going into this battle that I kind of had to play it a little bit out of left field, and I was glad to see those things work out. So I think I started the battle with a lot of momentum, which was good for me. And of course, that all came crashing to a halt on the Lando Earthquake on that Zapdos. I thought it was electric fighting or something, and as soon as I clicked Earthquake, I knew I'd screwed up, and I honestly thought in that moment I'd just thrown a battle that I had worked so hard to kind of build that momentum in. So I was pretty heartbroken right there. And there was a bit of a comeback. Obviously, I think it got a bit greedy there, and then the Brave Bird got that threat out of the way. But from there, we moved into that final phase where it's kind of Ferrothorn and Toxapex kind of doubling on me as I tried desperately to get through those last two bulky walls. And I think he had my number throughout that last section. He just predicts me over and over again, and as he does that, he gets more and more in my head. And I start making mistakes or not being able to predict him. At a certain point, you're under pressure and you're not willing to take those risks anymore, and that just digs you further into that hole. And I think I was just lucky in the end to get through. I think there was a Scald that didn't burn my Draco's ult that was crucial. I think there were a few maybe not ideal choices he made at the end there. But no, it was definitely a really close game, and I'm just happy to have managed to eke out the win in the end.
Yeah. Shout out to Seismitoad for once again dying to a grass move. I can't play it. It dies every battle. I'm bad. So, you got a free kill every time you play me. Also, I guess I got greedy with Zapdos. I went for too many bulk ups, and I had Brave Bird. So I let Lando keep on getting chip on me. So I wasn't like, by the time I actually hit him, I was dead. Yeah, if I had Drill Peck instead, I really think I would have swept him at that point. And then lastly, just that unfortunate switch in when I switched Rotom in to Volcanion. That kind of ended the battle right there. I couldn't beat him with just Pex and Ferrothorn. Yeah, I can't buy a win. I'm bad. Hopefully, I can sneak my way into playoffs and like catch someone unaware.
All right, now down to the last battle of the week. It is Rowan v. Alex. Now, Rowan is in last place, and if he wants to make playoffs, he really, really needs a win here. So let's see if he can do it. So jumping into the battle, it's Necrozma versus Clefable. So this is a new pickup for Rowan. Let's see how much damage it can do. So the Photon guys are doing 51 to Clef off the bat is not too bad. Clef goes for Grass Knot, I guess, predicting Swampert. But that's Necrozma. Necrozma has the coverage, and it's able to take care of the Clef, which is good news for Dragapult. So Zapdos comes in, and Rowan makes a pretty terrible switch here into Skarmory. Skarmory is not very strong on the Spadef side, and is weak to electric. Rowan also not running sturdy on the Skarmory means that it is just now gone. The Poltergeist coming out here is pretty scary for Rowan. If this thing sets up a Shell Smash, he doesn't really have too much going for him. He might have Sucker Punch on this Dragapult, but other than that, it looks like he doesn't have priority. So if this thing gets up a Shell Smash, it's very scary. And that being said, it is now face-to-face with Dragapult. The Dragapult outspeeds and is able to get up a Shadow Ball. But Poltergeist returns a Shadow Ball of his own and kills the Dragapult. So now the Sucker Punch is off the table. But luckily, Poltergeist is not set up. So Latios comes in and Mystical Fires, predicting Swizzor switch in. But the special attack drop on the Melodic is actually not too bad. And so this is a pretty good place for Rowan. The Draco Meteor doing a clean 64%. And on the flip turn means that it was not really punished. So Scizor comes out here now. I guess baiting the Mystical Fire. Which also is pretty useful against this Moltres. But now he's at -2, so he has to switch out into Swampert. The Moltres bringing the U-turn, probably preparing for a Swampert to come in. And now Poltergeist is in again. So Poltergeist, one of its coverage moves is Giga Drain, but it doesn't kill the Swampert. It's burn? Okay, so that's the third game in a row where Scald did not burn where it probably needed to. And Poltergeist gets the Shell Smash as Rowan switches out Swampert. Okay, so here the misplays on that turn. I don't think he should have switched out Swampert. I think as soon as this thing gets a +2, it's like looking very grim for Rowan. He doesn't have enough priority on his team that can hit this thing. And Scald, he could have clicked Earthquake. I'm pretty sure that would have killed the Poltergeist, but he did click Scald. I think his play would have been to click Scald again, even if he Giga Drains. I think Necrozma or Latios can probably answer it if it doesn't have the boost. So yeah, he just has to go right back into Swampert to sack it. So I think he could have sacked it that turn before. Now that this thing is at +2, I don't really see him coming back from this. Shadow Ball kills Lati. It'll definitely kill the Necrozma, even through the ability, which weakens super effective moves. And now it's just Conk versus Poltergeist. So Mach Punch obviously does not hit ghost types, and Poltergeist is able to sweep. So Rowan, I think, once again, not able to get the win. He misplayed the Skarmory, and I think he misplayed around this Poltergeist. Sorry, Rowan, you're going to stay at the bottom, but you still have some more chances to get... you have two more weeks to get ahead of Teddy. If Teddy loses the next 2 and you can win, then you'll be able to make playoffs. But if you lose another game, then it looks like you are guaranteed for the playoff spot. Right now, I'm just rooting for you to get a win. So, good game, Alex. Poltegeist once again showing that it can be a real threat if you don't prepare for it. And good game. This brings us to this week's standings. So a new champion has emerged. We have Alex taking first place with the differential at +7. Ryan, of course, not too far behind him with the 4-1 wins. So, and then after that, we have the 3-2. So I am winning that because of Rillaboom pretty much single-handedly. NICO, after that big win, is right up on my tail. And Cam, after the loss this week, is at the 0 differential, but still at 3 wins. Thomas is just 1 win away from passing him. He's got a high differential. And then at the bottom we have Teddy and Rowan. So Rowan, your chances are still there. Teddy can lose, and you can win. So it's still up in the air. But Rowan is now in last, looking like a great recipient of the Tyler Carr Award for most dunked on player. We have 2 more weeks to go before playoffs, so stick around to see if Rowan can do it.
So, starting at the bottom and moving up, we've got 2 bonds here that aren't traditionally thought of as big hitters in the league, but both put in big single-week performances, big sweeps. Nico's Hatterene came in and set up with a couple of combines and just kind of tore through Rowan's team. And then this week we saw Poltegeist with Shell Smash do the same. And I think it speaks to the power of mons that aren't traditionally considered threats and might come a little bit out of left field with a big setup and can really run away with the game. So Nico's Hatterene, I think, has been resting on that one sweep ever since. I don't think it's come back many weeks. And Poltegeist made its big entrance to the league this week. But moving up from there, we get to the kind of the same old stories we're almost getting used to at this point. You got Dracozolt at 8-3, who's just putting in 1 or 2 kills every week. Comes in as a consistent threat and has to be responded to. And then you've got something similar in Tapu Koko at 9-2. One of the rougher weeks for it, I think. A rougher week for Ryan. This is his first loss. But even then, it's getting a kill or 2, or 3, I think, as the case may be. And you can't sleep on the thing. And then obviously we have Rillaboom, who's 17-2. I don't know what Jackson would be doing without it. It's got as many kills as some players' whole teams. It's a threat. People know it's a threat, and they still can't beat it. It comes in. Grassy Glide is kind of ridiculous, and that's why it's still sitting pretty at first in our league.
I hear the power rankings. 4 best trainers moving into week 6, in my opinion. Last week we had Alex coming in at number 1, Ryan coming in at number 2, Jackson coming in at number 3, and Cam coming in at number 4. This week we got NICO coming in at number 4 over Cam. Big win over Ryan, the Skullfeed sweep, and he capitalized on that unfortunate chance he misclick. Ryan coming in at number 3, he lost, but he was the only undefeated trainer before that point, and 1 misclick away from possibly changing the course of the battle. Jackson at number 2, close win against Cam. Everyone always forgets Urshifu's Thunder Punch. We don't see that move often, but yeah, it does the thing against Pelipper. He got a break against some flinches, and Rillaboom did its thing in the end, just cleaned up. And once again at number 1, Alex. Shout out the Star Wars theme. That's always sick. And he got a sweep with Boba Fett, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, NICO at number 4, Ryan at number 3, Jackson at number 2, and Alex at number 1.
No nicknames, unfortunately, this week, and that brings us to the end of the podcast. Thank you for watching. We did a slightly different style this week, with not as much guests because of the holiday season. I hope you enjoy the live narration, and let me know if you want to see that in the future. Thanks for watching, and let's get at least 1 like on this video that's not me, and I'll see you next time.